Tuesday Night Live, 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. Thank you for dialing in, or zooming in, I guess is what we call it now, right? Terms that we didn't really even use 4 or 5 months ago. But glad you guys are on. I'm going to take just a couple minutes, let everybody log on. Please let us know where you're dialing in from or zooming in from or whatever. Definitely would love to know some areas. Put in your city, your town. Love to hear from you. What's up, Brad? What's up, Christine? Rochester, New York, Cumming, Georgia, Utah in the house. What's up, Craig? What's up, Amos from Maryland? What's up, Shane? My neck of the woods, Cumming, Georgia. How you doing? Bev from Milwaukee. Hey. How is everybody doing? What's up, Pharaoh? What's going on, Mark? Man, I can't keep up. Screen's scrolling too fast. What's up, Frank from Columbus, Ohio? My neck of the woods. Grew up in Akron, Ohio. So very familiar with the Columbus area. Actually doing some deals there now. Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up, Steph? Ricardo from Palm Beach. We got Harry in the house from Marietta. I'm actually in my in-town place today, so that's not too far away from Marietta. What's up, John? Dayton, Ohio. I actually went to Miami of Ohio, so very familiar with Dayton, Ohio. What's up, John? Representing Tennessee. George, representing Wisconsin. All right, guys, just keep on piling on. Guys, I got some good stuff for y'all tonight. Really good stuff. So we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Today, you will be learning. Okay, so take out your pen and paper and pencils, or, I guess in this digital age, there's all this other ways of doing it. iPads, notepads. But I'm going to teach you some cool stuff today. So today will be an educational one. So this is really good. This is really good for anyone that's checking us out. This is really good for our existing partners. This is going to be like an all-encompassing one today that everyone's going to really profit from. When you get started here, it's funny as I sit here at my in-town place in Atlanta. I'm so used to, like, when I do these here, many times I'll overlook. I'm like looking out. This whole top floor is my office, and right in front of me is a window. And usually I'm so used to looking out and still being sunny outside, still being really really light. And it's like, now I know, like, the season is coming to an end. We're entering the fall world because it's a little dreary. It's getting a little bit dark. So times are changing. And just like in real estate, you either change with it or you get plowed by it. So, all right, glad everyone's dialing in, and let me know where you're dialing in from. We got a bunch of people in the house tonight. So glad you guys are doing it. Excited. Got some really good information to you. What's up, Mike? Buford, Georgia. What's going on, Abe? All right, we got a lot of people dialing in. Got some really good stuff. Today is one of those times, and you guys know we have different themes. Like, sometimes we'll do stories. Sometimes we'll tell you about our history. Sometimes, like, I've been doing State of the Unions, literally, of where the real estate is based upon the pandemic. Sometimes we'll have some of our partners on. So it's just a mixture of Tuesday nights are really just designed to get the whole gamut. Well, today we're going to learn. Today we're in a classroom, okay? Today we're in a classroom setting, and I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you exactly what you got to do in a certain area in this business to make money. Simple as that. So if you're not a note taker, record it, If you are a note taker, this is the time to do it. I'm going to teach you some stuff today that has made me a lot of money It's made other people tons of money and is making our partners a tremendous amount of money. So thank you for dialing in. Excited. I'm going to get started here. It's just so many people are piling on. I hate to get rolling here, but I'm going to here in the next minute or so get cooking. Hope everyone's enjoying their, Tuesday night. Just get my little stuff set up here. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. All right, guys. Welcome. Let's go. All right. So first of all, who am I? For those of you that may not know me, who may not know the partner-driven model, very simple. I'm a real estate investor. That is like first and foremost. You know, people say, "Are you an educator? Are you like a YouTube dude? Are you a real estate investor? Are you a lender? Are you a developer?" Well, you know, I'm really all of those. I've done all of those. But if I had to just single it down, who am I? I'm a real estate investor. Okay. I've been actively investing for 22 years in this business. I got my history spans everything, all the way from a total zero to a total below zero, where I managed to lose things I didn't even have. You know, that takes talent, but I accomplished that even a couple times in this business, where I went absolutely backwards. But I always stuck through it. You know, I always knew the business was never at fault. It was always my stupidity. It was always my inability to follow simple instructions, put the right people in my lives, mentors and stuff like that. So I always persevered and ultimately over a period of time started really understanding this business. And it took me years. Don't make no mistake about it. You know, the last thing I want anyone to think is I got started 22 years ago and I became, made a couple of little mistakes and then I really, really made it big. No, I got started in this business. I actually had the luxury of having some money when I started. I had just sold something else. I had, $500,000 to work with, which is, not huge money, but it's definitely some money when it comes to the real estate business. And then I proceeded to lose it all in the first 6 months in this business. So if anybody, by the way, one time I need to do a webinar on how to lose money in real estate. Because if anybody could teach you how to lose money in real estate, all kidding aside, it is absolutely me, because I've done it in so many different ways. Okay. But I did lose it all because I was listening to the wrong people, giving me wrong information, following wrong advice. And it's literally, because really, if you guys understand real estate, when people dissect real estate's pretty simple. It's decision-making. That's it. You have to know how to make decisions, all the way from zero to closing. You have to learn how to make decisions along the way, whether it's rehab decisions, whether it's value decisions, whether it's, team building decisions. I mean, that's what really real estate is. It is a series of decision-making processes. And what I learned very early on is that even though I thought I knew how to make those decisions, because I went to some seminars, listened to some webinars, what I realized is that every deal is unique and every deal is different. And so I managed to make pretty much every single wrong decision that could be made, and pretty much nearly bankrupted myself, almost became, to a degree, I did kind of become a little bit somewhat homeless, borderline homeless for a while, and it was a bad start. But again, the one thing I did never do that I see so many people do in this business is I blame the business. So many people get in real estate and it's oh, I'm in the wrong market, I'm doing the wrong thing, I timed it wrong, or real estate doesn't work, or it's just a bunch of BS. I never did that. I never, ever blamed the business. I always took the responsibility. That's my fault. And so that's what started taking place. I started realizing, okay, if real estate is a decision-making process, how do I learn how to make decisions? Because I figured out how to make all the wrong decisions. How do I learn how to make all the right decisions? And there were a couple of things I did to do that. One, I started getting right around the people that were making the right decisions. And two, I started understanding how to scale things, okay? And so the combination of getting around the right guys and the ability to then start learning how to scale things started really propelling me in this business. To a tune now of, 20 some years later, I've done well over 3,500 deals. And I've done all kinds of deals. I've done, wholesaling, fix and flips. I've had rentals and to a tune of 400 buildings. I've done land developments. I've done building from the ground up. And so I think one thing I always say, I think I have some credibility in terms of talking about this business, because I'm not, with me, it's no nonsense. This is how it was. This is what I did. This is how I do it and all this. And so what happened over a period of time, my philosophy of doing this business began to change. This is a number of years back. I was expanding, I was growing. I had offices set up here in Georgia, down to Florida, all the way to West Coast. We had a number of really, really like satellite offices, you would say. We had a pretty unique model that we were doing everything from Georgia centralized, like we were marketing from here for all our offices. We were setting appointments for all our offices from here. So it was a very centralized model, but I had presence through different offices across the United States. And you need to do that, because in order to build real estate, still a very localized business. Make no mistake about it. This guru virtual do things all over the country, sit in the back of the chair like this and just rock back and close deals over the United States. That's not how it works. If you're gonna really, maybe you could do a couple deals that way, but to the level I needed to do it, I had to have local presence. So my offices became satellite offices. We were centralized, doing things out of here, and we were growing and things going well. And so then I did what most entrepreneurs want to do. I was trying to figure out, how do I get it to the next level? Like, how do I get it beyond the 17 or so locations? Like, I don't have a presence in Wisconsin. Like, what happens if I want to do a deal in Wisconsin? So I don't have a presence in New York. What happens if I want to do a deal in New York? And so then one day it hit me. I was like, why don't I just forget my own offices? Why don't I change this whole model, flip it upside down, and literally start finding partners to do deals with? Okay. My need was met, because then I had those local boots on the ground. I needed that. And I knew I could really help them, because I understood over those many years of investing and doing deals, I knew we could teach them how to do this business. I knew we could support them. I knew we could get an infrastructure, because I was already doing it just at a smaller scale with the satellite offices I had. So to get to the next level, we're like, we got to get past our 17 or so offices. Let's just kill it. Let's open it up to partners. These are real people that really want to do real estate business. They're no nonsense. They're not looking for some kind of a scheme or a scam or a get rich quick. These are people that are going to really be willing to invest time, effort, resources. They're going to be willing to do it. But these are just people that truly needed what I lacked in this business. In the beginning, they needed structure, they needed proper information, they need to understand the difference between a BS, CMS and a real CMS. What if these people needed some help in construction, possibly? Almost everybody needs money, and that's how this partner-driven model really grew. And this is what gave light to it. It's our need of how do we expand beyond our own borders, and how do we help people in the process. And that's where the partner-driven model was born, and it took off like hotcakes in the beginning. But there were some, there's some things like in any business model that you had to iron out. And to bring it to where we are today, let me tell you something. We ain't perfect by no means, but man, we got it ironed out. We are literally setting records. We're having record months of deals we're doing with our partners. We're having record months of deals we're doing with brand new partners. We're having record months with how many contracts our partners are doing. It's just I feel like we could always get better. And once a week, we here at the Partner Driven Inside Family, we get together. And we're the goal of that meeting is very simple. How can we help all our partners? How can we help all the big family? How can we help it grow? And so there's a lot of things on the table that we're still doing. But I could tell you, my confidence in a partner-driven model is higher than it has ever been. It really is. I feel like that people inside here have it dialed in. The excitement, the growth that we're seeing with our partners all over the place is just absolutely phenomenal, and it's just very, very exciting to see where we are in the timeline of this whole thing. Because the other thing we have going right now is we have a pandemic. If you all noticed that there's a pandemic, and if you turn on the TV, we're all going to be die, right? That's it. There's no way out. We can't get our numbers down. It's worse. It's getting worse. Well, we at the Partner Driven Family decided we don't want to participate. We don't want to be participating in that. Okay. We're aware of it. We hate the things that it's caused, but we said, you know what? We could shut it down. We could stop, but we don't want to. We feel like we not only, to a degree, we talk about a lot. We're helping people right now. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to get liquid right now. There's a lot of people that need to sell assets. There's a lot of people that need to get rid of their like second, third, fourth, fifth properties. And we are truly helping people. We are solving the problems. And so what we've done during the pandemic is we've actually grown in every facet. I mean, if you look at the matrix of partner-driven family, we have grown all over the place, and we continue being on that trajectory. And so having said all that, just to kind of bring you up to speed, these Tuesday night webinars are very special to myself, and they're special to our team here, because this is the one thing that we have done consistently since we started the partner-driven model. Like any other company, we've tried some things and they don't work and we stop doing them. We've experimented with things, but the one thing that we have absolutely like zeroed in on is these Tuesday night webinars, because the Tuesday night webinars is probably the number one focal point into our world for people. Okay. And the other reason that these Tuesday night webinars are so cool for us is it's the only time that we bring non-members together with the members. Okay. Like once you become part of the partner-driven family, you have your own world that you get experienced into. You get private, one-on-one coaching if you want it every day. You get technology, you get lead gen, you get skip tracing. Obviously, you get access to money, access help with construction if you need it. It's like this whole world, the partner-driven world. But at the same time, there's some people that kind of use Web Tuesday as a way to learn and understand, like, who is this Julie or who is this Peter? And do I feel comfortable with them? Do I feel like they understand real estate? Like, does Peter have a teleprompter behind him and he's never done a real estate deal? No teleprompter behind me. I've done tons of deals, very verifiable. And this is a way for us to really expose the partner-driven model to the whole world. And so for those of you that have been listening on an ongoing basis, to the partner-driven family, it's very simple. Tonight, you're going to do what I always say. You're going to reset, you're going to recharge, you're going to recommit, and you're going to take it up a next level. That's it. Tonight, this is it. You're going to, no matter what level you're at, no matter how much you're killing it, or no matter how much you're being a slug about it, today, reset, recharge, recommit, and let's go. Take it to the next level. And for those of you that are not quite part of the partner driven family, and you're not part of our community, and you're not one of our partners, I hope to say that today becomes like a no-brainer. Like, well, what have I been waiting for? Okay. So this is a way for you all to kind of, as we say many times, it's a way for you to kind of lock it in, lock it down, and make that final decision. And so I welcome both of the sets, the partners and the non-yet partners. By the way, if you're not yet a partner, you need to go check us out at partnerdriven.com. Some of you guys have been checking us out for a while now. You're actually talking to some of our team members and all this. Just make the decision tonight. That's the only thing I could say to that. Because we are, people say, well, Pete, what's going to happen with this pandemic? How is things going to change? I don't know. I'm not in the business of predicting. Nobody knows, but I do know one, it's only getting better and better and better right now. And I don't know how long that'll be. And so while that, one thing a mentor of mine, very successful business person, taught me before, in business cycles, like in life, it's like riding a wave. And sometimes he said, Pete, he taught me, his name was Reggie. And Reggie taught me, he's like, when you catch those waves, and he was talking specifically about business, you got to ride it out. A, you got to be able to identify it. That, hey, this is a wave right here. This is an opportunity. And B, he said, just go, because ultimately it'll probably come to some kind of a cyclical end. And so right now we are in a wave, absolutely in a wave. So very excited to be here. All right. So you can check us out at partnerdriven.com. Or just if whoever you're talking to, let's make the decision. And then for those of you that are like, whoa, like after tonight, I'm going to give you a phone number also of a team member that's going to be on standby that you could call. If tonight you're like, okay, I'm in, I don't have really any contacts at the partner-driven family yet. So I'm going to give you a name. So you've got to stay on for the whole session here. And I'm going to give you a name of somebody that's going to be on standby, and they can get you like literally rolling tonight. All right, so here's it. Here it is. What are we going to talk about tonight? Guys, I'm going to talk to you about the concept, this concept in of itself has probably made, I'm not going to say probably, has definitely made me more money than anything else in real estate. So like when somebody comes to me and says, Pete, what's the one technique? What's the one strategy? What's the one to do? Like what is it? What's the thing in your trajectory as an investor? And that is what I want to talk to you guys about today. Because this is what literally got me from zero to hero in this business. Because when I was doing this thing myself, I told you I was heading backwards, like by myself in real estate. I was going in totally opposite direction till I had nothing else to lose. I wiped myself out, went in debt, I successfully did that. So what started kind of getting me out of the mess, and the concept that so many of you all know this by, it's a cash buyers list. Now I'm gonna call it something else here in a second, but this is what so many investors know what I'm going to talk about today, and they know it as a cash buyers list. So the question is, a lot of times people say, well, how can a cash buyers list be the thing that propelled you from zero to hero? How can you look back at your 22-year career, Pete, and how can you say that a cash buyers list got you to where you are? Because see, I'll be honest with you guys, a cash buyers list to me is not a cash buyers list. Okay. And I know in a general sense, what people refer to cash buyers list. Cash buyer list is what people refer to when they do, let's say, a wholesale strategy, right? And you identify a deal, you mark it up a little bit, and you flip it over to a cash buyers list. Yes, that is a function of a cash buyers list. By the way, I want to talk to you about this whole concept of a cash buyers list to get you sold on the idea of how important it is. And I'm going to spend a little time actually telling you how to develop your own internal cash buyer list. And then at the very end, I'm going to break the ultimate secret to you, how to tap into the largest cash buyers list in the United States, and how I can help you do that, by the way. So the concept of cash buyers list, the big picture cash buyers list is this. Pretty much everything, and listen here very carefully, pretty much everything that you need in real estate investing can be found in your cash buyers list. I can give you my history of 22 years in this business, and I could tie it into, let's say, my highlights, let's say my successes. And do you know that every single one of those highlights, every single one of those successes, even the model that we're running with today, the partner-driven model, is as a result of my cash buyers list. So let me just let me give you some couple stories, and then you'll see where I'm heading with this. So one time, many years ago, I had a good friend in this business. His name is Bob, and Bob and I are still super duper friends. And Bob was working at a private hedge fund, private lender, and I was an investor. And Bob ultimately became my loan officer. As a matter of fact, I think Bob may have been like the first or the second guy I ever borrowed money from when I got started in this business. And so after doing a lot of deals with Bob, his fund funding me a lot of deals, a lot of transactions, Bob and I developed a relationship, a friendship, you could say. And so Bob and I would do some social things together. But the key to my relationship with Bob is that we developed a trust, an absolute trust. Which, by the way, I think is the key to the partner-driven model. It's very important. You have to have trust in any business relationship. So Bob and I became good friends. We'd start doing social things together. We'd hang out together and things like this. And then we started talking, just kind of started talking among with each other about what if we do this ourselves? Like, why do we need a fund behind this? Right? Why do we need a fund behind us? Why don't we set up our own fund? So I still remember this as this was yesterday. We go to a bar to get a drink, and Bob pulls out a piece of paper. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't a piece of paper. We didn't have a piece of paper. So Bob grabs, this is more representative, a napkin. It's not a napkin, but this is closer to a napkin. So Bob grabs a napkin, and he draws a triangle on this napkin, right? He draws a triangle on this napkin, and each corner he labeled something like money source. And so he started explaining to me the dynamics of setting up your own fund, okay? That meeting got me to really understand what he and I were talking about, that triangle on a napkin, okay? I started understanding what it means to set up your own fund. So that night I went back to my place and I wrote up an email. And in that email, I described the triangle, okay? And I sent it to my cash buyers list. And so what started happening over a series of the next several days, I started getting responses back. Kind of like, hey, I'm in, or hey, I'd like to, or do you have more information? And really what that email was a solicitation or offering of people that wanted to lend money to Bob and I that we would then lend out to investors. We wanted to become our own hard money lenders. And out of that email, I developed one meeting came out of that email, like one key meeting. And in that key meeting, I was invited to a clubhouse, a very fancy neighborhood here in Atlanta. I was invited to a clubhouse, and a gentleman that responded to that email literally for like 8 hours straight walked his friends into, brought him to where I was sitting. And I explained the concept of the triangle. In that one meeting, I raised $10 million. So a napkin at a bar, a triangle, me understanding what we want to do, me putting together an email to my cash buyers list, right? And me developing a relationship. And within a couple of weeks, we had $10 million to work with that we worked with for, a number of years to come. I'll tell you another meeting. Years ago again, I started hearing like a friend of mine started taking me to these plots of land. And he was showing me like what developers were doing, like how they were subdividing and rezoning and all this. And the more he started explaining it to me, the more I realized this is like a pretty cool niche, like where you buy a piece of land, you rezone the piece of land, potentially subdivide it, potentially not even do that, definitely don't develop it. And then you just flip it over to the big guy, the big developers, the big home builders and all this. And so this individual and I, we'd had a series of meetings. He started showing me like these lots, this land and what people were doing with it. And so he taught me in essence, like this niche that I knew nothing about. Nothing. Like I knew nothing before I met this guy, anything about like how to subdivide, how to rezone and all this. And so, but in order to do that successfully, you need I had to develop a brand new team. It wasn't necessarily my current team. This team had to have rezoning attorneys. This team member had to have contacts at the city level. This team had to know how to work with different homeowner associations, because you have to get their approvals a lot of times on rezonings and all this. So I'm like, well, where am I going to find this new killer team? A cash buyers list. So I put together an email list describing what I'm going to start doing. Okay. At that point, and guess what I said in this email? I told them exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for somebody that's experienced with rezonings. That means somebody that has to have, connections at the city, obviously, and all this. And I sent that email out. And out of that email to my cash buyers list, for instance, came an ex-commissioner who just so happened is now helping people rezonings, right? He came right out of that list. And out of that email, or maybe a couple emails that I did to my cash buyers list, I was able to assemble my team. And then I was able to find the right couple properties, right? And guess what? My team pretty much did everything because I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. And I was successfully able to start buying this stuff, rezoning it, and flipping it out to the bigger guys who were then developing, putting infrastructures in and all this, right? Tell you another story. A good friend of mine a while back, just as I know, his first name is Barton, I knew Barton, and I started seeing like Barton was buying old apartment buildings here in Atlanta, and he was converting them to condos. Like here in Atlanta years ago, that became a huge craze. It was like it swept Atlanta. Matter of fact, they even started setting up real estate brokerages who did nothing but sell condos back then. It became huge. And so, you know, Barton and I were good buddies. He was actually initially one of those mentors that I was telling you about that kind of got me out of the hell that I had created for myself. And, you know, he and I became good friends along the way. We did a couple things together. And I started just kind of every time I asked Barton, every time you go to one of your condo conversion projects, just give me a buzz and I'll meet you there. Just kind of, I'll shadow you, walk the property and all this. And so through a series of those meetings, I started understanding the condo conversion craze. Like I started understanding what kind of apartment buildings you're looking for, what kind of areas you're looking for, you know, what kind of, you know, builder you need to do a condo conversion, what kind of, you know, you have to, you know, when you do condo conversions, like for instance, you have to put together HOA paperwork that obviously an apartment building doesn't have. So I started seeing like, what are the pieces needed for condo conversions? And I also saw right in front of me that these condo conversions were like, they were sweeping Atlanta. I mean, people were making a killing in them. Well, guess what I did? I put together an email to my cash buyers list. And I said, I wanted to start doing condo conversions. And here's what I need. Here's the kind of contractor I need, you know, that has the experience doing this, and this. Here's the kind of attorney I need that can set up HOA paperwork, you know. I also needed to raise money through this. So I put together a separate email of saying, hey, I'm going to be doing a condo conversion. It's going to be, you know, X amount of money. So I want to put together, you know, whatever, 2 or 3 partners to do that. And guess what? My cash buyers list was able to finance and was able to also, was able to put together my power team back then to start doing my own condo conversions. And so honestly, I could tell you on and on stories about how my so-called cash buyers list, that so many people call is just a cash buyers list if you want to do wholesaling, pretty much everything I've had in this business has not come because, you know, I'm like a smart investor. I'm not really that smart of an investor. Has not come from because like I have the right parents, you know, that could finance the world for me. That didn't come from that. Pretty much everything in this business has come as a result of this cash buyers list that I started developing many years ago. Anytime I needed something, like in my early days when I needed, when I was just doing like one property, like a $50,000 property, and I wanted to raise capital for it, or I wanted to partner with it. Guess what? I just sent an email to my list. Hey guys, you know, I got a house, you know, about 1,300 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I'm buying it for 50. We need 30 to fix it. You know, I'm looking for a partner to come in and help me, you know, do it. And so I expanded that into, then I started realizing this cash buyer list is absolutely the gold to this business. Because inside the cash buyers list is literally everything that anyone would possibly want and need from real estate, right? I can get money raised from it. I could find potentially deals through it. I could learn different techniques and strategies through it. I could develop a relationship with it. I've used my cash buyers list. I've used it successfully to even get myself out of certain problems that were going on. You know, there were times where I was like making a mistake with something. Okay. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is definitely going in the wrong direction. Cash buyers list. Put together an email. Here's the situation I got. Here's what I need. Here's what I'm willing to give up. Boom, boom, boom. Who's in? I'm in. So the essence of the cash. Oh, and by the way, yes. And then I also extremely successful utilized our cash buyers list to flip and wholesale properties too. That goes without saying. That is really the essence. See, the problem with most people is their definition of a cash buyers list starts and stops there, right? Okay, I want to wholesale 100 properties. So I need a huge, huge cash buyers list. Yeah, you're right. But what you don't, let me tell you this. It's like, it's like going to Hawaii and sitting inside the airport for the 6 days you're there, right? You're like totally missing the point, dude. Get outside, go look around, get on the beaches, go swimming, right? And this is why people develop cash buyers list, and I'll be talking to them, well, how are you using it? And I just see they have no idea. You're sitting on gold. You're sitting on opportunities that no one else could provide for you. You're sitting on resources, you're sitting on contacts, and this is why I think the cash buyers list, ultimately, it's a misleading name. It's totally a misleading name. It should be called something like the gold list, the Kimuraba Chibarjaba, whatever would that be? It should be something really, because it's bigger than a cash buyers list. It is literally everything that you could possibly need. It's like the ultimate tool. It's the ultimate tool. It's the ultimate way to grow. It's the ultimate way to scale. Some of our inside partner-driven members, not like partners, but people that are part of our team, have somewhat come off our cash buyers list, right? Anything you need, anything you want is a result of your cash buyers list, okay? So the question is, when is it too early? When is it too early to start working on a cash buyers list? Never. When should you stop developing your cash buyers list? You know the answer, right? Never. You can never start too early or stop too soon. To this day, I am still developing my cash buyers list. I'll tell you a funny story. Yesterday, my wife and I were at a store, and everyone walks in masks like you're at some kind of a masquerade party, right? And you can't see anyone's faces. And I'm standing at a checkout counter, and this guy's like, Pexelman. I see his like sliver of an eye, right? Because like you got to put it right up to here. I'm like, really? You want me to know who the heck you are by like looking in your eyes? And he pulls this thing, and the guy his name was Lane, and Lane was one day on my cash buyers list, and I was looking internally for some office space. And so I sent an email to my cash buyers list. I said, hey, I need some office space in like Howell Mill area, which is an area here in Atlanta. Howell Mill area. Anyone have any contacts on the list? Lane responded to that. And then Lane ended up getting subsequently ended up getting like another 4 or 5 offices for me around Atlanta because we got along so well, and so he became my realtor as I was growing and expanding here in the Atlanta market. And Lane just hit me this. Lane initially came off an inquiry that I sent to my cash buyers list. So I could summarize everything I just said like this: critical. Absolutely, positively critical to have. It's a tool that no one could live without. Okay, so let's spend a little time. Before, I would have to spend a lot of time on developing cash buyers list, because before it used to be harder to develop these lists. Before it was a lot more painstaking. Before it was a lot, it's just a lot more difficult. But it got totally flipped around with that advent of technology, social media, internet, and all this. Once those things came into play, building out cash buyers lists is very easy now. Okay, so there's a couple ways of doing it. So when I said before, take some notes, this is the point right here, right now, where you want to take some notes. Okay, the ultimate way that from day one, when I started building out cash buyers lists, the ultimate way is the internet. And like I said, this is the one strategy that is like transcended the times. Internet, no internet; social media, no social media. But search engines have always been an incredibly important key component to developing cash buyers list. Okay. So what you want to do is you literally want to go to, let's say, oh, and I know I don't have time today, but here's something that most people like, this kind of works. Like let's stay focused for a minute, cash buyers list, because you're an investor and you want to do wholesale deals, right? Let's kind of stay focused where everybody's focused on. Let me tell you something interesting about a cash buyers list as it relates to that. The further away your investor is from you, like proximity wise, geographically, the more they will pay for your wholesale deals. So it is very important that as you're building these cash buyers lists, even if you just look at it strictly from a wholesaler perspective, right? Let's just stay focused on that right now for a minute. But the further away your investor is, the more they'll pay, right? Because guess what? The local guy who lives like 5 miles from the house you're trying to wholesale, he's going to think he could do it himself. He's going to want to beat you up over the price. He's probably not the most experienced investor. He's probably has limited funds. That's why he's spending all his money locally, so he could see it, feel it, touch it. And there's going to be just a myriad of things. He's looking for the maximum potential return on his money. So that local guy is going to be the tough guy to sell a lot of deals to and make a lot of money. But the guy, let's use an extreme example. Let's say your cash buyer is in China, right? You think that guy in China really cares if he's making like a 7% return on his money or 8% return on his money? No. He's only got one goal. He's got to get his money out of China, right? Matter of fact, even if you just get it out, do it in a legitimate way, he just wants to preserve his capital because he don't want the government to show up one day at his doorstep and take it all away, right? And so he's going to be a lot. His view of that property is a lot. His point of view is a lot different. Plus, the further away your cash buyers from you, the more money they tend to have, right? The guy that's only got a couple $100,000, he's going to put it all local, right? Because he's got to see it, feel it, touch it. He's got to fix the plumbing when it breaks and all this. The guy that's got, 20 million, he's going to spread it all over the place, right? So chances are, if you give him a real good deal, guess what? He's going to come back and get more and more. So you don't need as many potentially out of state or far away investors. So not to confuse the matter, I just want you to think that through. But today I want to actually teach you how to build like a local cash buyers list, because from a wholesale perspective, the further away he is, the more he'll pay. From a building out perspective, local is a little bit easier, right? Because there's a lot of things you could do locally that you can't do to get the guy out of China, right? The only way to really get the guy out of China is web-based and stuff like that. So let's say a local investor database. Get on the Google and Google every single term you could possibly think of that has anything to do with either real estate investing or real estate investors. Okay, so be like, find real estate investors, invest in real estate, we buy houses, real estate cash buyers, invest in REOs, buy commercial real estate, buy residential properties. See what I'm doing? All I'm doing is I'm just twisting the terms around, and I'm changing the order around. And you really want to sit down with a piece of paper first, and you want to come up with these are called like key terms, right? What you want to do is you want to come up with about 45 to 55 terms like that. And then off you go to Google and start Googling them, right? The one thing is, remember, because I said the local one's a little bit easier to build out. On the end of every term, put the name of the city you live in. So for me, I live here in Atlanta. So it'd be like, find real estate investors, Atlanta, Georgia. We buy houses, Atlanta, Georgia. Invest in real estate, Atlanta, Georgia. Because by putting that anchor on the back, it's going to center Google around the local areas, right? That's how you keep it. That's how you keep it within about 100 miles. And obviously, not every term that's going to come up is going to be an investor, right? Some are going to be real estate agents. Some are going to be mortgage people. At least to the best of your ability, at least when you're building the raw list out, try to avoid adding any of those on. Go for what appear to be like either an investor, obviously, or an investment company. Investment companies should be on this list because we as investors, we just incorporate. So most would appear to be like investment companies on the internet is just a mom and pop operation that's set up an LLC or an S Corp or something like that. So, Google it. Google also at the bottom of every page, right? They give you other key terms. So if you put in real estate investors, find real estate investors in Atlanta, Georgia, if you look at the bottom, Google's going to give you like 5 or 10 other terms that are similar. So you're going to utilize those, right? You are also going to change your city. So like here in Atlanta, I'm not going to anchor everything with Atlanta. I'm going to take some surrounding cities, like find real estate investors, Alpharetta, Georgia, find real estate investors, Cumming, Georgia. So just by changing the geography around a little bit, you know, around the surrounding cities, you're going to see you're also going to get different results. Different search engines will also give you different results. So, you know, Google, you know, Yahoo, MSN, all those like second tier search engines are going to give you that. And ultimately you're going to see like just this strategy alone, it goes and it goes and it goes and it just gets wider and wider and wider until ultimately you're going to get to the point, like anything you do, you're going to basically get the same stuff over. Well, that's when, you know, you need to put that down for a minute. By the way, I truly mean a minute. This exercise should be done like on a monthly basis, because search, you guys know it's search engines, they change algorithms, they give you different results. So when you finally exhaust, oh, and by the way, the list should be full of name, contact information, and contact information. I'm sorry, name of the individual or the company and their contact information. The raw list, that's really all you need on it. So that's what you're grabbing off the web. So when you've exhausted and pretty much anything you do, you keep on coming up with the same terms, go to something else, right? I'll tell you another great one that literally could be done on a daily basis and you're going to pick up different results is like Craigslist. Craigslist is a super duper way of finding investors. Because as investors, guess where people post their properties, right? On Craigslist, right? So all you're going to do is you're going to go to the way you use Craigslist, go to Craigslist.com, go to your city, go to real estate for sale, and then do the drop-down menu for sale by owners, right? And then in the Google, in the Craigslist search engine, in search tab, you're going to just type in the same terms like motivated seller or cash buyers. And what you're going to see is you're going to see all the people like selling their properties. You know, who says motivated sellers? Investors, right? Who says cash buyers only? Investors. So you're going to see all these in the feed, in the Craigslist feed, you're going to see all these ads show up for these key terms, right? Guess what? They're all investors. So you want to grab all that information. And guess what? Craigslist like literally changes every like 5 minutes, right? So that's an exercise that when we used to build out our internal lists, our people would do that like once, a couple times a week, okay? So Craigslist is a super duper one. Real estate auctions, fantastic way. Like I used to many years ago when I was really heavily building out that initial list. I literally, when I go down like this, looks like I have a halo. So we're not gonna do that. I would literally show up at real estate auctions, right? Like foreclosures, REO auctions, because guess who goes to those? I mean, every once in a while, somebody comes there just to look, but buyers go there, right? People with money go there and cash buyers go there especially. So you just go there and you shake hands and grab business cards and exchange contact information. So that's and even private auctions. I mean, I know right now in the COVID world, there's not as many auctions going on, but they're a terrific source of building these out. Bandit signs, right? Every city's got bandit signs. Isn't that funny? Bandit signs are just like illegal everywhere in the United States, but every city has them, right? Just about every city, every major city has them for sure. And bandit signs are just those signs you see on the sides of roads and highways, you know, like we buy houses, or cash at closing, or close fast, or we buy houses in any condition. You know, those are all terrific, terrific places. So anytime I see a bandit sign, I always write their contact information. Terrific places. And obviously the big super duper things that I did not have the luxury of having when I got started that are now taking place right now, social media. I mean, social media, you could literally get on social media for an hour a day or 20 minutes a day, and you can go cuckoo nuts, like literally cuckoo nuts building out these lists, right? Like you should be members of biggerpockets.com, reiclub.com, I mean, these are like, they're literally set up for networking. I mean, literally these sites are set up, you know, they do their own purpose too, and other things, but these sites are set up for networking. So you could literally get on there and you could just become part, you could become just part of the conversation, right? Just start answering questions, asking questions and all this. And you will see that, very easy to pick off tons and tons and tons of cash buyers off these sites. Facebook, like Facebook groups, you know, there's like unlimited amount of real estate people on Facebook. They, you know, they have their groups, you know, meetup.com. You should be part of the meetups.com, and you should do that. LinkedIn has groups that have over 100,000 investors that are part of it, right? And again, remember, you're just networking. You're just getting to know people. You're interacting with them and things like that. And so that's the first step. That's the first step in developing a cash buyers list. Just a raw, you got names and contact information, right? But why do you think, like, let's stick with the wholesale model. Like, who do you think, like, if you know, we've done thousands of wholesale deals off our list, for instance, right? Do you think most of the people that bought our properties off the list just were on the email list? Or do you think almost all these transactions happen as a result of, hey, Bob, I got what you're looking for. Go check it out. I could tell you, in a fine-tuned wholesale machine, you do not need to send, like, I'm talking about specifically for wholesale deals. You do not need to send any emails out. You don't need to do any flyers. You don't need to do any advertising. In a machine, a wholesale machine, the only reason that we would ever send emails out with like a flyer is just because these flyers get spread out, and so we pick up other people to add to the list. But 90+% of all the transactions happen as a result of this right here, your telephone. Hey, I got what you're looking for. Go check it out. You got 3 hours before we do a list. So the next step is actually almost more important than the first step. I mean, let's face it, with the techniques and strategies I just gave you, you could literally, like, for the next month, like, go nuts on this and probably put together a list of 20,000 people, right? Realistically. But what are you going to do? Just like send 20,000 people random emails? Like, they don't even know who you are. They'll probably, report you for spamming. So what makes you money on these cash buyers lists, what makes you money in the ability to sell through these cash buyers lists is the next step. It's the most important step. It's developing a relationship. It's developing a relationship with these people. So you call them or you talk to them, and you simply, you build you qualify them. You figure out what they're looking for, what they're doing. One of the key, if anyone's taking notes, I want you to write down the line, one of the lines that's made me tremendous amount of money. And this is the line right here. And it's this. It goes, I always said to people, what can I, Peter, do to help? What can I do to help you build your business? What can I do to help you build your business? And this is how we develop relationships with dozens and hundreds and ultimately thousands of other investors. Because when they tell you how you could help them, they're telling you what they need. So, like, what can I do? What can I, Peter, do to help you, Steve, build your business? Oh, well, Pete, man, I'm looking to buy some properties in downtown. I need them to be this and this and this. See? Okay. He just told me his hot points. So now we know, our sales team knows internally, that when we get a deal in downtown Atlanta that has these kind of parameters, these kind of numbers, Steve, we don't need to email Steve. That's too impersonal. We're going to call Steve. Steve, we got what you're looking for. And ultimately, people will ask, well, how big is big enough to build the cash buyers list? We kind of addressed that. It's never big enough. But if you're looking from, let's say, like a wholesaler perspective, right? If you're looking from a wholesaler perspective, this is when you're at least at the level you need to be. But every deal that you get, let's say in-house, every deal you get under contract, let's say, you should have a minimum of 5 to 10 people that you can look inside that list and say, that matches. Now, I don't mean just a guy that tells you, oh, I have more money than God, and anytime you get a deal, call me because I'm just buying it tomorrow. That's crap. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it's a 3 and 2 in this zip code for this price, for this number of rehab, for this, and this, and all those requirements match up to what this guy wants it in that zip code for about that price, for about that rehab, for about this. When you have that true match, when you have 5 to 10 people that almost every deal you get, you could literally look at that list and say, here's my 5 to 10, here's my 5 to 10. You'll be able to move almost anything just like that. It's almost like guaranteed, almost anything you get. So, you know, how big is too big? There's nothing you'll never have a big enough list. But when can you take like a breather and say, okay, I'm getting there? When you get that 5 to 10 number. When you get that 5 to 10 number, you could say, okay, I could breathe for a second. I could breathe for a minute. Because now I have something that I could feel confident in moving my deals. Now, so that's the cash buyers list, guys. I'm just telling you the best way to summarize what I'm talking about today is this: essential and critical. But now, I'm going to give you something that I'm proud of, that I'm just flat out excited about, and something we've done here at the partner-driven level that's taken me tremendous amount of time, effort, tons of money to develop. And that is this: the ultimate cash buyers list, the largest cash buyers list, as far as I know, and I've never had anyone tell me I'm wrong. We literally have here the largest cash buyers list that exists in the world. So let's just kind of stick towards this wholesale model. You know, let's say we get a wholesale deal in, we need a cash buyers list. Remember, guys, I've been developing my cash buyers list like internally for 20 some years. It's already pretty darn big. But this other list we got, it blows it away. I mean, my internal list that we've done thousands of deals off of, it's not even on the radar of this list that we now utilize. And it's part of the reason why our numbers are through the roof in terms of doing deals. Because let's say, again, since we're sticking with this wholesale flavor going on tonight, you know, at the wholesale level, that cash buyers list is like, you know, you might have not bought into what I said earlier today about that. Hey, you need to network, you need a cash buyers list so you could do other things and you might be like, well, that's a bunch of hooey, Pete. Maybe, but you ain't doing a wholesale deal without a cash buyers list. So bottom line is, the bigger the list, the bigger chance you'll be able to move deals, right? So a while back, I started realizing that there has to be something even bigger than our incredible cash buyers list. How do we take it to the next level? How do we get the whole cash buyers list, like anybody out there? And you know what the ultimate cash buyers list is? It's the MLS system. Because there's nothing that'll give a property more exposure than an MLS. Nothing. There's nothing. If I got like a regular house that I want to sell today, let's say I live in a house and I want to sell a house. Okay? I live in a house and I want to sell a house. And a realtor comes to me and says, you know, Pete, I'm going to help you sell it, but I ain't going to put it on the MLS. Like, see ya, right? You won't even think about that, right? Even people that don't know real estate know the MLS, right? The multiple listing service. Because the multiple listing service is the ultimate way to give a property exposure. I could tell you, when people buy houses, let's say like a regular house, almost all the time, MLS is involved somewhere in the process. Like, people are searching in a certain area through MLS, okay? People are putting their perimeters, like realtors are putting the perimeters of their buyers into MLS. People drive by a house with a for sale sign, and then they call, you know, they tell their realtor maybe, hey, I like that house. So the realtor goes to the MLS and finds all the details about it. There is nothing, not Craigslist, not Zillow, nothing, right? And definitely no investors database that rivals the MLS. It is the ultimate cash buyers list. You put a property on the market today, it will get seen by thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, just like that. So the logic says, well, Pete, what the hell? Why are you spending all this time telling us to Google stuff when we just put an MLS? There's a problem. Again, let's stick with the wholesale motif today. You cannot put a property in MLS that you do not own. So remember, when you put it under contract here and MLS is here, you can't just market this property through MLS. Can't do it because you don't own it. The owner can, but then you're out of the picture, right? So forever and ever and ever, we as investors have known this, that MLS is the way to go. But we knew because of the techniques that we were doing, we could not access it. So a while back, I started thinking, how can we access it? How can we do it for ourselves and the partner-driven family in such a way, and this is like at the very inception of the partner-driven world. Well, there's got to be a way to get it. So what did I do? I got everybody involved. I got the board of realtors involved. I got some of the top attorneys in this industry involved. I got everyone involved and I said, listen, I don't care what the cost is because the need is so big. Whatever the cost is, I instructed my attorneys, you figure out through the board of realtors what language they would feel comfortable using in our contract to allow us to pre-market properties, wholesale, retail, whatever. Because when you could pre-market a property, no matter what you do with it, you have an advantage, right? You got a huge advantage. And so that was the task I gave them. I said, do whatever it costs, whatever it takes. And so my set of attorneys worked directly with the board of realtors, like fraud department actually. And they developed a special kind of verbiage that allowed us to get a property tied up and to literally pre-market it. And this is why I believe Maria, one of our amazing partners, last week, we put a property under contract for this, pre-marketed MLS. They're making a $40,000 fee. This is a wholesale deal. Who makes $40,000 on a wholesale deal? Why? Because remember, I said the further your buyers, the more they'll pay. MLS encompasses the world. There's people sitting in China today that are looking to buy real estate. Do you think they're like looking at like Craigslist? Maybe. Do you think they're on your buyer's list? Maybe, but probably neither one of them. They're scouring the MLS. They have their local realtor scouring the MLS. This is why we did a deal that we got under contract last week with Mitchell for $250, and the very next day we stuck it on MLS and sold it for, it was for $260. We got under contract, and the very next day our realtor put it on MLS and we got under contract for $350,000 wholesale. Who makes that on a wholesale deal, right? For those of you who don't know real estate, when we're wholesaling deals, you're not talking about like 50,000, 100,000 profits. You're talking about like, wow, I made my 5, I'm happy. And by the way, I'm happy with 5 and I'm happy with anything. But the power of MLS allows you to expose your deals to the biggest public of all. It's the ultimate list. It is the ultimate list. And this is another reason why we here at the Partner Driven World are so excited about our partners, because all our partners have access to this. Now, it's more than just a contract. You got to have the right technique. You got to have the right strategy. And this is where the Partner Driven family back office comes in. Because Mary, who's been closing deals for me for years on years on years, she knows how to set it up the right way. So it's not just paperwork. You got to have the right people to know how to execute it the right way. You gotta know what the right closing agents are. You gotta be able to explain the strategy and technique to the realtors involved, because a lot of times it just goes over their head. So it's a team effort. The contract is the pinnacle, but you need everything behind you to make these kind of deals work. And this is why everybody needs a cash buyer's list, because a cash buyer's list is more than a cash buyer's list. I hope I made the case today for you. And today I give you some legitimate ways that you could go at it and do it yourself. Nothing wrong with it. We still do it. But then I also gave you the ultimate advantage. This is why I always say the partner-driven model is an advantage model. It's a shortcut. That's all. You still have to work your rear end off being a partner. You better believe it. Are we going to do every single deal you bring? Heck to the no. Why? Because I've done almost 4,000 of them. And you know what? I know which ones work and I know which ones don't. Is everything going to be hunky-dory at the partner-driven model? No. But you will 100% have an advantage. You'll have an advantage like across the board with techniques, with strategies, with support, with paperwork, with contracts, with funding, with leads, with technology. In my opinion, it would be silly not to take that advantage. Because I will tell you, and some of you guys are listening to me and you're living it, real estate is one business where this is one business you do not want to build by yourself and learn as you go and shoot from the hip and experiment and figure it out. It is probably one of the most unforgiving businesses out there. Well, I guess being a neurosurgeon would be more unforgiving, right? I would not want somebody to practice on my brain, right? But like as far as finances are concerned, I don't think there's too many other businesses that are so unforgiving. And so you need a buyer's list, a cash buyer's list. You understand now it's more than a cash buyer's list, and you need to be building it out. And there's no question about all of that. Today I give you some legitimate ways to do it. But I'm so proud of our partner-driven model that no matter how you slice this business, no matter what you're looking at it, I feel like we have an incredible unfair advantage, both for ourselves and our partners. So if you're a partner on here tonight, you know what to do, right? Reset, recharge, recommit, let's go. Now you just saw something you might not even known you have access to, or did not know the kind of advantage you have access to. If you're not yet a partner, make a decision. This is not the right model for you. That's okay. But if it is, make the decision. Just do it. Do it. Let's move forward. So if you need more information about the partner-driven model, you could check us out at www. I'm sure it'll be in your chat. www.partnerdriven.com. If you're already working with a team member and you're ready to get started tonight, please contact that team member because I know they're going to be available. Or if you're not working with anyone, but yet you're like, I'm ready, let's go, let's hit it. We have a special team member on standby today. His name is Jim. His number is 678-845-8647. And I'm sure that'll be on your screen also. So you can call Jim tonight if you've been checking this out long enough and you're like, okay, no brainer, let's go. Either way, guys, I enjoyed it. I always enjoy these. This is good stuff for me. I enjoy it. I'm glad you guys are here. We will be back again. I'll be back. Maybe Julie will be with me here next time. Maybe it'll be just her. Maybe it'll be a combination of us. But we really, really appreciate you guys. We really value you guys taking the time out of your busy days and busy nights. So that's all I got. We'll see you same time, same place next week. See ya.
Are you donkey kicking?
Power on. When it steps off, to keep honest, it's